Captions are indeed one of the best tools to enhance understanding. They provide clarity, improve accessibility, and allow people to follow along, regardless of language or hearing ability.
Join me as I try to create a jaw-dropping Dark Knight scene using just my fingers. Let's see if I can pull it off. Today, I want to show you that with just a little creativity and some basic techniques, you can create a stunning piece of art using nothing but your fingers. It's amazing to think that something so simple can lead to breathtaking results. So many people out there think that creating a beautiful art piece requires expensive tools or extensive training. They believe that you need to be a skilled artist to produce something truly impressive. But the truth is, some of the most incredible art can be created with the simplest of tools, and I'm not just talking about the tools themselves, but also the skills required to use them. I mean, think about it, some of the most famous artists in history started out with nothing but a pencil and paper, and yet they were able to create masterpieces that would be revered for centuries to come. What this really comes down to is a misconception about what it means to be creative. People often think that creativity is about having some kind of innate talent or ability, when in reality, it's about experimentation, perseverance, and a willingness to take risks. With this mindset, even the most basic tools can become instruments of artistic expression. The fact is, anyone can create something beautiful, regardless of their background or training. You don't need to be a skilled artist to produce something that's visually stunning, you just need to be willing to try. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to take a blank piece of paper and turn it into a Dark Knight scene, using nothing but our fingers. Let's get started. The first step is to create the base color for our night sky. I'm using a dark blue, almost black, mixture to give it a deep, rich tone. I'm applying it to the paper in gentle, sweeping motions, making sure to cover the entire surface. Next, I'm going to add some shading to give the sky some depth and dimension. I'm using a slightly lighter shade of blue, and I'm applying it in small, circular motions. This helps to create a sense of movement and texture in the sky. Now we're going to add some stars to our night sky. I'm using a small amount of white paint and applying it to the paper in tiny dots. I'm trying to vary the size and spacing of the dots to give the impression of depth and distance. As we continue to build up the layers, we can start to see the night scene coming to life. The stars are twinkling, the sky is dark and mysterious, and we're starting to get a sense of atmosphere. Now that we have the basic elements in place, it's time to add some finishing touches. I'm going to add some subtle shading to the buildings in the distance, using a dark gray mixture to give them some depth and dimension. I'm also going to add some highlights to the windows, using a small amount of white paint to give them a sense of glow. The idea of creating a breathtaking Dark Knight scene using only your fingers might seem a bit far-fetched, but trust me, with a little bit of creativity and imagination, the results can be truly stunning. Today, I want to show you how simple and accessible art can be, and how you can create something truly breathtaking with just your fingers. I think we've all been guilty of believing that creating beautiful artwork requires expensive tools and elaborate techniques. We assume that the masters of art have some kind of secret formula that only they know, and that the rest of us are just, well, amateurs. But the truth is, art is all about experimentation, imagination, and practice. Anyone can create something beautiful, regardless of their skill level or experience. We've all heard the phrase less is more, and when it comes to art, this couldn't be more true. By limiting ourselves to just our fingers, we're forced to think outside the box and get creative. And you know what? That's where the magic happens. When we're not worrying about which brush to use or which program to open, we can focus on the actual art itself. And that's when the real creativity starts to flow. But I think another reason we assume that art has to be complicated is because we're often intimidated by the professionals. We see their work and think, wow, I could never do that. But the truth is, even the most experienced artists started somewhere. They started with simple techniques, simple tools, and a lot of practice. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. Let's get started. To create our Dark Knight scene, I'll start by applying a base coat of black paint to my paper. I'll use a gentle pressing motion with my fingers to make sure the paint is evenly distributed. As I work, I'll start to add some shadowy details, like the silhouette of a tree or a building. I'll use a combination of light and dark colors to create depth and dimension. Next, I'll start to add some stars to the sky. I'll use a light touch to create small, delicate dots, and then blend them together to create a sense of movement. I'll also add some moonlight to the scene, using a gentle sweeping motion to create a soft, ethereal glow. As I continue to work on the scene, I'll start to add more details, like texture to the trees or waves to the ocean. I'll use a combination of finger painting and blending to create a sense of movement and energy. And finally, I'll step back and admire my handiwork. And that's it. Our dark night scene is complete. I hope you're as amazed as I am by how simple yet stunning this technique is. By using just our fingers, we've created something truly breathtaking. I hope this video has shown you that art doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. With a little bit of creativity and imagination, anyone can create something truly stunning. When it comes to depicting night scenes, one of the biggest challenges artists face is capturing the right colors. It's easy to fall into the trap of using only dark blues and blacks, but that can lead to a flat and lifeless image. We need to think about how to balance those darker tones with hints of lighter colors to create depth and dimension. Lighting is another crucial aspect of night scenes. We need to consider how the light from the stars, moon, or even streetlights can illuminate the darkness, creating an eerie glow. Getting this balance right is key to creating a believable and captivating scene. And then, of course, there's the issue of textures. How do we capture the rough, rocky texture of the waterfall's surroundings, or the smooth, flowing motion of the water itself? It's a delicate balance between creating realistic textures and avoiding muddiness or messiness. In finger painting, we have the added challenge of using our fingers to create these textures and effects. It requires a level of control and precision that can be difficult to master, but the results can be truly stunning. To get started, I'll be using a combination of acrylic paint and a specialized finger painting medium. This medium allows us to blend colors and create smooth, even textures that are perfect for capturing the flow of water. I'll also be using a variety of finger techniques, from gentle tapping to more forceful pressing, to create the different textures and effects we need. When it comes to blending colors, the key is to start with a light base coat and then gradually build up to darker shades. This allows us to create a sense of depth and dimensionality in the image. For the waterfall itself, I'll be using a combination of blues and whites to capture the flow and movement of the water. As we add more details and textures to the painting, it's essential to keep stepping back and evaluating the overall effect. This helps us to avoid getting too caught up in the minutiae and ensures that the final image is balanced and cohesive. Okay, let's get to the moment of truth. The waterfall takes shape. This is where all our techniques and materials come together to create the stunning, flowing motion of the waterfall. I'll be using a combination of gentle, sweeping strokes and more forceful presses to capture the energy and movement of the water. As I work, I'll be constantly evaluating the paint.